Wow, a lot of revelations this week. Shalom unto you. Um, I don't even. It's funny. Um, so my ex got this painting out of a garbage can in front of a Publix near the University of Florida campus. I don't know, 6, 7 years ago now. And I heard a song clip the other day of Eyes Without a Face. Yeah, God's got a lot of winks if you're paying attention. Um, Ian Carroll did a really in-depth like narrative on the Mandalay Bay stuff. And I watched the majority of it yesterday. And anyone who's watched any of it knows that the official narrative is garbage. And I just find that that really interesting. My ex, same one that got the painting out of the garbage, had a CDL license. It was something he wanted to accomplish. I encouraged him to do that. He went back to school, acquired his CDL, and drove. The timing of his re-entry back into the OTR, over the road truck driving industry, was pretty awful because, we have, who knows how high the number is, apparently thousands, probably over 10,000 undocumented, untrained, unprofessional semi-drivers on the roads. Now, since President Trump's got back into office, that has definitely been something that they have been focused on. But one thing that I noticed, and I guess I should preface this by saying my father owned a dirt pit. Who knew you could make money selling dirt? But you can. Apparently in Florida, anyway. Um, and so I was, raised around the trucking industry. I can load dump trucks. I can stockpile dirt. I've ran a drag line. I know how to grease front end loaders. I know how to operate a backhoe. All the things, right, that go with that industry. I also worked for a over-the-road trucking company doing payroll, and I sat next to a broker. And a broker is the third party person. Now, the broker for the company I worked for, which was Cherokee Trucking at the time, was the owner. Her and her husband owned the business. Well, now the trucking industry is saturated by these brokers that act as middlemen, and you can actually go on TikTok and watch this, how they bid for loads and then they lowball the drivers and all that. So I say all that to say the money was good, but the industry right now is just really saturated with a lot of unethical people moving black market products. He's not going to be happy, my ex, that I'm going to talk about this, but he had several experiences while driving that really just put a sour taste in his mouth over the whole thing. He delivered a load out west. He won't give me his GPS thing because he knows that I'll figure out exactly where. But I want to say it was out like South Dakota way, but don't quote me on that. And he got there, delivered the load, and then they locked him in the office until the payment process was complete between the purchaser and the supplier. Now, what the fudge are you hauling where you, in any capacity, think locking a driver in is an acceptable way to secure payment? That's sketch AF. Another time he was out west somewhere, and he thought he saw a dead body, and he pulled over, called the law. The law responded, and and then they said, well, that's on tribal lands, and we're not going to do anything. And so, he's like, well, can you call somebody? And they're like, well, that's near the casino. Ain't nobody going to come. They don't care what happens out here. And so that really kind of threw him for a loop. So I only went on one ride with him. And this is kind of the purpose of this video. So he, at this time, was trying to do like a kind of business venture with his brother, who's also a CDL driver. And they were doing a lease to own with semi trucks. And his brother, on his behalf, took a load that was being picked up out of St. Petersburg, Tampa area, and being delivered up to the Panhandle way of Florida. And I rode with him to St. Pete, Tampa to pick it up. And then we brought it back. I think we parked the truck in Waldo. And then the next day, he finished out the delivery without me. Now, if you are like me, if you're on this app, you're going to be like me, meaning you video and take pictures of everything. And that is apparently a problem for some people, because I have video footage of these 4 helicopters that we picked up from a place in Tampa with the metadata and the date, and brought back. And somebody forgot to take the call signs off the bottom of them. So I'm just going to share the images and the receipts, the location. And those of you who are good at seeing if this is anything that needs to be shared with others, y'all do your thing, because I'm still learning how to figure out planes and helicopters and the how that lettering works. But what I've come up with leaves me with a lot of questions, because you think it would be a clear-cut thing. Oh, and one more thing. Somebody said to him that these were used in the Vietnam War. I don't know. So there's that. Anyway, planes, trains, and automobiles, and real estate. Yep. Airbnbs. It's a good way to traffic. Anyway, have a blessed day. Shalom.